Welcome to The Change, a podcast about the changes in life that shake, break, and make us. I'm Laura, a 45-year-old writer, podcaster, and mum who has until recently always loved change.
And I'm Cathy, a 53-year-old writer, podcaster, and mum, and change is actually my kryptonite. We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia on which this podcast is recorded and recognise the continuing connections to lands, waters and communities.
We pay our respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and elders past and present. Hi Cathy, how are you?
I'm really good. Yeah, doing well.
Good.
Getting there.
Today we have the wonderful Hannah Vanderheide on the podcast. She is an actor, a voice artist and freelance travel, health and lifestyle writer. Hannah is living with a rare condition called Addison's disease, and she's also become a vocal advocate for chronic illness and disability. Hannah lives in Melbourne with her husband and 4-year-old son, a growing collection of rocks with unexplained origins, if you know, you know, boy mums and girl mums out there.
Yeah.
And her vintage collection of Star Trek DVDs. She's an awesome woman. We both have crossed paths with Hannah before through our work at Mamma Mia. We can't wait to get her on and have a chat. Hannah Vanderheide, thank you so much for joining us on The Change, and I am so sorry for the chaos that ensued before we even got on screen together.
Laura, I'm so sorry for what you're going through, as I've expressed. You're doing an amazing job. Both of you are doing an amazing job, actually.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
Hannah.
And I love that we're finally talking because I feel like I've followed your career and your byline. We've worked kind of together a little bit at Mamma Mia in the past. And I just wanted to kick off really by talking about your career because you do have a lot of feathers in your cap. You do have, you're a very experienced and professional lady. You're an actor, a writer, a voice artist. Just tell us a little bit about your career and what came first and what's your kind of biggest passion and why?
Yeah, it's funny being such a slashy. I do like the term slashy, but it also feels a bit, like it does make you feel like, oh, jack of all trades, master of none. But I don't think that's the case. I hope it's not the case. I think to be a successful freelancer these days, you do need to just do everything. And so that's definitely my approach now. I think I started as a writer from when I was speaking. I used to write poems and stories and songs. And then I was a little actor, and I even convinced the head of my senior school to let me do triple English double drama in my final year of year 12.
What?
That's all I did. Triple English double drama. That's Canberra for you.
That's a load and a half.
You better believe I got very good grades.
Yeah.
So I just, they made an independent unit for me for drama so I could do two, which was so cool. So I always knew I wanted to be an actor, and the writing kind of fell in with that creatively. And then I really pursued acting pretty hard. I went straight to Melbourne from school in Canberra, and I did drama school, and I did a fitness degree on the side so I could survive. And so I was teaching Pilates and getting out there and doing my acting stuff. I was on Neighbours and a few TV shows, and then lots of ads and things, and then started doing voice work and just started to bleed into every part of the industry. And I think by 2019, I'd worked up enough to be able to quit. I was teaching Pilates at the time. I was able to quit the fitness side of things, which was so exciting. And then guess what happened in 2020? Anyone's guess.
Yeah.
So obviously the acting industry took a big hit, and it has stayed pretty damaged in some ways. It's coming back, but it's coming back a different beast, as so many industries have. But I guess it was during COVID, with basically when every single thing changed in my life, which was but that's what reignited my connection with words and writing. And I sort of took some time to start journaling. I started to realize I wanted to write more publicly available work. And then I started pitching, and it basically took off kind of like a runaway train in a really lucky way. I feel like I really let myself in the back door, and no one's kicked me out of it yet, but I do feel like someone's about to any day now.
No, it's because you're clever and good at what you do.
Yes.
I think it's taken a long time to adjust to that. You don't necessarily have to do a degree based on everything that you want to pursue throughout your life, but I think I do come from that highly academic background, and so I was like, oh, but am I allowed to do this?
Yeah.
I think a lot of us who come in that way as well feel, well, I know when I say a lot of us, I'm speaking, I guess, for myself, because I also do not have a journalism degree. I have an arts teaching degree. So I went in the back door as well, like just kind of like you pitching. And yeah, I know. And you sneaky kind of get in and then you go, oh, am I meant to be here?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, we love your writing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but am I meant
Is it right?
Is this right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always thought that there was like a very traditional, you had to go up through like a newsroom or something like that, like be a cadet journalist or something.
Absolutely.
And only if you went that way could you call yourself a journalist or something.
Yes.
But everyone's like, no.
No, the work you're doing is journalism, therefore you're a journalist.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing is, it's the same thing as an actor. All the best actors I know don't necessarily have a degree in acting. Of course, they never stop learning and they never stop training, but most of them have learnt on the job.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I just wonder, as while we're on career, like I just, having written, with you and, not exactly at the same time and on the same subjects, but a lot of what you share is very personal. And I think that's what's so appealing and relatable about women like us that have kind of come in that back door and written about things that are personal to them, and you can bring your voice to that. But everything's changed so much in the last couple of years with AI. And how are you navigating the industry now with the ChatGPT kind of phenomenon that it is, the big beast? It's changed everything. I'm just so in this weird place with writing right now. What about you?
It is so jarring. I was just thinking about this in the lead up to this record. I was listening to a podcast about it. Yeah, ICYMI. It's another podcast I listen to aside from The Change, but it just did something about AI, a big AI lawsuit, with authors suing AI for training AI models. I feel filthy, like I need to shower if I use ChatGPT.
Same.
Disgusting.
Yep.
And I think the way I've come to use it at the moment is I use it like Google, and I use it sparingly because I'm really worried about the environmental impact. I think it's terrifying. But I also end up using it for some story. Like I did a story for Marie Claire recently about ChatGPT infiltrating healthcare from both sides, which was so interesting. And I didn't actually realize how sophisticated ChatGPT is now with people with chronic conditions. And I did see a good side of it as well. I thought, wow, access to healthcare is terrifying right now. And I mean, I almost died twice with my misdiagnoses and stuff like that. So if that was available to me at the time, I wonder if I would have got a diagnosis much sooner. And so there's also that side of it that I'm so conflicted with. But for the actual writing, God, it's crap, Laura and Kathy. It's crap.
Yeah, look,
It's so hard to navigate it in an
I'm not
ethical way.
It gets past anyone who's not a critical thinker.
Yep.
So it sounds good. It does. It sounds conversationally good. But oh my God, if you try to get it to write something of any substance whatsoever, it just cannot.
And that's because it is a learning. So I mean, I guess in my day job, I work in cybersecurity. So we work a lot with AI, and there's obviously a lot of concern around AI. The thing to remember with AI is that everyone's like talking about it because ChatGPT became a thing, right? But if you think about all the areas of AI, and I am by no means an AI expert, so like I'm not trying to say that, but Google, every time you feed something into Google, you ask it to do a search, that is a large learning model, right? So Google is learning how Laura searches, how Hannah searches, how Kathy searches, and the three of us could put in exactly the same question, like word for word question, and we're going to get back different answers because of how we have trained our Google to give us.
Trained it, right?
We've inadvertently. And so we've been doing that. When you think about it, we've actually been training Google for years, like decades, right? Like
anything we've posted on social media,
100%. And every time you search for something, that is AI searching. Now, there's always going to be good with bad, of course, right?
Yeah.
And you know, some of the good is I recently saw a Westpac banking ad, and they're talking about like all the layers of the security. The woman, she's running through the streets, and then there's like dogs come out, and then there's like all different security methods, if you like. That is AI. Like the reality of that is actually AI, right? So there's so many aspects to AI that everyone's just scared of this one aspect, like scared of the chat GPT model where creatives think we'll be out of a job, right? No one can get into my brain. No one can get into Hannah's brain. No one can write like Laura. Like we all write in our own way. We all bring our own voice to it. And that is why I actually don't think AI is going to replace us. Now, there are some people that certainly believe that it might happen, and maybe it will, but it will be everybody will be replaced. It'll be like the Borg in Star Trek, or, you know, like those kinds of really weird things. It's just, I have to believe that fundamentally we will use AI to replace menial tasks. We do it now. We already do it now, and we will continue to do it as AI gets more advanced. We will continue to do it. And in the medical field, you know, in research and things like that, the calculations that it can run that can make a difference in, you know, diagnosis and cancer and all of those really awful areas is incredible. So I guess I'm trying to say, don't be scared of it. And it's never going to be, it's never going to replace your voice. I mean, sure, like, you know, the unethical people in the world that run the major corporations, they're all going to try and make it run our lives.
I think, like, as you said, Hannah, with the article you did for Marie Claire and Kathy about health, there's definite absolute benefits to having the AI in our lives, and we can't avoid it. That's the thing.
We need to look at both sides of these things. We should never, I really just don't think it's useful to look at only the fear factor. I think we should never be throwing the baby out with the bathwater with anything that is new or scary. Everything that's come along in the last 100 years has been new and scary before it became very normal. And
that's right.
So, you know, change. It's change.
Yeah, it's change.
It's change, and change feels very scary for a lot of people. You've mentioned a couple of times that you had a bit of a health journey. Can you talk us a little bit through that and how you found out where you are and what happened? And
sure. It's been quite a journey. It started when I was 26, which was 9 years ago now. And that's when my Graves disease was unknowingly coming on. So that affects your thyroid. It's an autoimmune disease that causes hyperthyroidism. So a really ramped up thyroid. And I was busy, 26-year-old, working nights, mornings, days, studying, jumping around, doing what normal 26-year-olds think they can do and not get punished for it, which some can, physically, I mean. And I was certainly burning the candle, but I started having all these symptoms. I was extremely anxious, as you might imagine, with a metabolism that's going a million miles an hour. I had a heart rate of 140 resting towards the end, right before I went into a thyroid storm. I had all sorts of things going on. I even had trigeminal neuralgia during that period, which is a horrifically painful
Yeah.
condition that affects your nerves. No one knew what was going on. My doctor kept dismissing me, saying, "You have anxiety disorder. Here's a script for anxiety medication." And I never took it because I just thought, "Oh, I just suddenly have anxiety disorder, do I? It's okay." Uh, and then finally, I got diagnosed with a much more sensible GP who I changed to, who took one look at me and was like,
Mm.
So it was almost too late at that point to, it was very, very borderline. And then I did go into sort of a thyroid storm after we just caught it. They thought it was cancer first when I
Oh
did
my
my,
gosh.
they thought it was thyroid cancer. And so there was a moment there where I thought, is that what's happening to me? And anyway, it was about an 18-month journey on the medication to try to regain some sort of stability. So it was sort of 18 months of being pretty unwell, which, yeah, I could have avoided if I'd had an earlier diagnosis. And another year after that, I was able to get it into remission, which was really amazing. And then I thought I made the necessary changes that I should, as someone who now, an autoimmune disease girly who,
Mhm.
even if you're in remission, you still have the antibodies, you still have something going on all the time, and you do need to be a bit more gentle. And I really thought that I'd cut back and really made some changes, and I
Mhm.
just hadn't, bless my heart. And it was in 2019 when I started reckoning with my relationship with food and my body. And I knew deep down that it was really unhealthy. I didn't know that it was as bad as it really was. And I thought everyone around me is starving themselves. That's fine. It's normal and good and celebrated any time I do. People say, oh, it's amazing. The willpower. So
And
it
you were
was,
in the fitness industry at that stage too,
that's right,
right? So
acting and fitness.
yeah.
So very aesthetics focused. And I was doing
Mm.
some modeling as well. Just fantastic. What a triple
Oh
whammy.
God, yeah.
Yeah. So I started doing some self-help style stuff. I always think I can manage everything by myself. So I thought, oh, I'll fix this. And then I realized, no, I need some help. And a lovely, incredible eating disorder psychologist very firmly said to me, oh, Dallin, you're fucked. Direct quote.
Oh.
Direct quote. Oh, honey, your relationship with food is fucked.
Oh
You're
gosh,
not allowed to say
yeah.
that.
Of course,
He was. I was
yes,
like, oh,
we don't
yes,
mind swearing.
great. Yeah, so I was
Mm.
diagnosed with anorexia nervosa. I had a clinically, an actual diagnosis of an eating disorder, which did shake everything up for
Mm.
me. And I dove straight into recovery. I was like, we're gonna fix this. We're gonna fix this. And I started fixing it. And that's when COVID hit. And I was like, okay, well now we're gonna make this my COVID project to recover. And it started.
Because of course COVID was only gonna last like
Oh
3
my
or 4
god, I
months,
didn't
right?
even
Like
like.
it
Yeah.
was gonna be like
Yeah.
a really
Yeah.
short thing. It was gonna be
Yeah.
one and done and
Oh my
everyone
gosh,
was gonna
let's
be,
use this
you know,
time. Yeah,
whole country was gonna lock down. We were gonna have this we were
exactly.
gonna have this
Yeah.
sorted. Yep.
So I thought I'm going to use this time productively, me and my productive mind, and I did. I made great progress, and then I fell pregnant, and my psychologist was like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing to me?" But that was amazing for the first few weeks until I got so sick.
Oh
And
no.
at the start, we thought, okay, well, first trimester of pregnancy, she's just copping it. And then it got so much worse so quickly, and I started not being able to stand up at all without fainting immediately. I couldn't keep food down. I couldn't keep. Came to a point where I couldn't keep any liquid in. I would just projectile straight back out again.
Oh God. Yeah.
And all they could find on my bloods was that my salts were really low. Sodium levels were dangerously low. I should be in a coma. They're so low, and no explanation for it. And by that point, we had sold our apartment. I'd moved in with my mum. She was nursing me full time. She's an ex-ICU nurse. And my husband was trying to keep his business afloat so that we didn't have to, sell everything we own.
Mm.
And we were certain the baby wouldn't survive. That was a pretty big certainty. We just weren't sure if I would at that point. That was the question mark and the hopeful sort of. So I had to disconnect a little bit or a lot from my pregnancy. I was in survival mode, so it actually came quite easily, which feels really strange to say that I really experienced a pregnancy where I wasn't very connected to what whoever was in there, which feels bizarre because spoiler, he's a beautiful, beautiful 4-year-old boy. And so that feels very strange. And I think I'm only just starting to grapple with the emotion of that time now. I was going to bed each night next to my poor mother. And there was towards the end that point where I said to her, I don't think I'm going to see you in the morning.
Oh no.
And obviously as mothers, you know, and as a mother now feeling that like, oh, so I have unfortunately traumatized my precious mother. She's very strong, so she's fine, but she's a lot of, this has affected her deeply. Anyway, finally, another miracle GP, but honestly, it was on my mother's coaching, and she said, you need to look her in the eye and you need to say to her, you've been here before, you've been dismissed before, you have been on the verge of death before and you know what it feels like. Look at her and you tell her something is so, so wrong. And I did. And she had this strange jolt of a memory of a misdiagnosis. And she said, you know what? I missed it. I missed an Addison's disease diagnosis in a young girl, and it's haunted me ever since. And you know what? This is not what it's going to be. It's such a rare disease. So I'm going to, the last thing I can think of, we're going to test you for it, and it won't be that.
Wow.
And I was like, that's what I was like, that's what it's going to be. And of course, it was, you know, as soon as the test came back, all my 5 specialists were calling me, not knowing if they were delivering the news or not, and not knowing where I was up to with it, but just being like, let's urgently get some steroids into this woman. Anyway, I'm going. This is only halfway through. It's just ridiculous, the health stuff in the last few years. But anyway, I got that diagnosis. I was able to chase my cortisol levels enough to complete a healthy pregnancy and delivery with a C-section, which was a blessing. And a beautiful, unbelievably healthy boy came out, which was astounding. And then I recovered so quickly and felt so blessed in that first year of his life. I loved it. And I felt so grateful to be here, felt so grateful to have him. And then when he was a year old, my Graves' disease decided to come out of remission. It was like, remember me? And I was like, yeah, I do. And the combination of Graves' disease and Addison's is very deadly and very toxic.
Right.
So,
and do they often go together? Is this because I feel like autoimmune stuff often goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
so I technically have polyglandular autoimmune syndrome 1.
Okay.
Very catchy name.
Talk us through what that means. Like as you know, someone that is unaware, tell me, what does all that mean?
So Addison's disease, for anyone who doesn't know, which is 98% of people I speak to, because it is very rare, it affects your adrenal glands. So in the way that Graves' disease attacks your thyroid, the antibodies attack your adrenals, which are the 2 little glands sitting on top of your kidneys. They're responsible for a lot of essential hormones, but the big one is cortisol. And cortisol is known as the stress hormone. And we lifestyle writers, we write about it all the time. We
It's
used
like
to
such a buzzword, isn't it? Cortisol.
Yeah, and it's so hot right now. And it's been very funny for me because I no longer make my own cortisol at all. I can't produce any cortisol in my body.
So you have not enough cortisol.
Yeah, I have adrenal insufficiency, but it seems from what we've noted of mine is that they're gonskis. Like I got nothing. So I'm fully replacing my cortisol 4 times a day throughout the day. And the problem with cortisol is you don't know how much you need on any given day, really. There is a baseline amount I take. It's never going to be perfect. It's always going to be a bit too much or a bit too little. So I'm always going to I always feel off. But the real challenge and the real scary stuff comes when you encounter any kind of virus or injury or illness or sudden stress or grief or, you know, something you're going through right now, Laura. Your cortisol levels would have been, let's probably estimate they've been a bit higher than normal, maybe. But you know, you're not sure what's going on internally, whether your body's producing that or not. Whereas I need to anticipate that and take, you know, the oral replacement enough to avoid an adrenal crisis, which is very quickly very deadly. And so I've always got my medical alert bracelet, and I've even got one on my watch, and sort of I've got my emergency injection kit, and so that's the Addison's. But the autoimmune syndrome is it's just a collection of autoimmune diseases you're more likely to have if you have others. And they just don't know much about it. Of course, it affects
No.
women more than men.
Yeah.
And the other ones in my cluster are type 1 diabetes, which please no, but who knows? And also celiac, no.
Yeah.
And then something called pernicious anemia, which sounds more manageable,
Okay.
but still.
Yeah. And so it's obviously there's been so many changes that you've had health wise. How has it kind of changed your outlook on life to have all these different, diagnoses and trying to move through? You're a parent now. You're still
Mm.
working in lots of different ways. How has it all changed your approach?
I think this is why I'm so thankful for my writing career.
Mm,
It's really saved my life in a way.
mm,
I built it while all of this was happening, which is
Mm.
a real point of pride to me that I was able to do that. I don't like the productivity side of things. That I know it satisfies that part of me where it's like, see, you're still contributing to society, so don't worry, you're still valuable. I'm so anti that, and I'm working hard to unlearn all those ableist
Yep.
things that I was taught.
yeah, such a good
And
point.
being so beautifully embraced by the chronic illness and disability communities has been so life changing and so eye-opening and so beautiful. I can't tell you how it's so cliche, but I just am so thankful for things that are so basic. I went for my first run in about 18 months, or maybe a month ago. It was
Yep.
pouring with rain. It was the most disgusting day. No one else was out running. And I was like, I'm well enough to run finally. And I was running and I was crying with gratitude in the rain, just like, ah. And so I think my life is just so much richer. I wouldn't have the career I have. I wouldn't have the community I have. I wouldn't have the appreciation that I have. Gosh, I think back to my old self. I'm like, oh, you must have just taken everything for granted. But I'm also very compassionate towards her. I think that's really important. But there's I have weird amount of gratitude. I still wouldn't choose it,
Mm.
to be clear. I still wouldn't choose this sort of daily stuff. But yeah, I do like the person I am because of it much more.
Gives
Yeah.
you that unique perspective
Yeah.
on life, and as you say, the gratitude for things like going for a run
Mm.
is something you would have just done heaps probably in your
Oh,
early 20s as
too
someone that
much.
worked
A little bit
too
too
much.
much.
Too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And what other, obviously we've talked a lot about different changes. Are there any other changes that you still want to make? Big, small,
Yeah.
anything at all?
So many. I mean, I think
Mm,
there's going to be so many to come. I think the biggest gift is knowing now, because I was terrified of change my whole life
Yeah.
up until all this stuff happened. Knowing now, holding on to things so loosely is such a gift, which it sounds like, oh, you can't hold on to anything. That's kind of scary, but it feels so freeing knowing that I don't know if this thing that I've got right now is going to last. That's okay, because I know I'm going to find something else if it doesn't, and I know I'm going to adapt and change. And I guess the biggest change that's in the immediate future, hopefully, is probably having a second child, which
Oh, that
feels
would be
it would be
exciting.
really exciting. And I'm. It's very funny. I have my specialist appointment right after this, and it will tell me if my bloods have been stable long enough to be able to try. We've not been
Wow.
allowed to yet, so
okay.
I think we're there, which is exciting. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know whether I can.
Yep.
I was very blessed the first time, as I said, it was a bit of a surprise how quickly that happened. So that's very wonderful. But I don't know. None of us ever know with that stuff. And I
Mm,
think I'm going into that with pretty open eyes, knowing that it will be more challenging for me with the
Mm.
Addisons. My husband is so ready. He's just ready to just drop everything and just make sure this, works. That this is the only priority, even though he's out there running a big business and things like that. He's just we're in such a different place. So
Yeah.
it feels empowering and it feels exciting and scary. So scary. Oh my God.
Yeah.
mm.
One kid is so much easier. I've heard that 2 and 3 and 4 is just,
You'll be okay.
Yeah,
You've been
you'll be
through a
fine.
lot. Yeah.
You'll be right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
yeah.
you know, I think when it comes or if it comes or whatever happens,
Mm.
you just, everyone says to, says to me over the years, because we went from 1 to 3 because I had twins.
Mm.
And I was told I'd never be able to have a baby. So, and
Wow.
we were very fortunate. And everyone's like, well, how do you cope? And I was like, well, I just get up and I put one foot in front of the other. And they're like, oh, but did you want twins? I was like, I wanted a healthy baby and I got 2. And they're like, you
Have
know,
them.
the weirdest questions. People ask you the
They
weirdest questions.
do.
Yeah.
And I can remember looking at people and saying, well, what was I going to do? Give one back? Like, I mean, it's not like I can, I can't really put it back inside. Like, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
you just have to kind of cope, right? Like, and when you're in the mindset of, oh, well, we wanted another baby, we brought this on ourselves, you kind of just have to put
Yeah.
one foot in front of the other and it'll happen. And some days will be hard and some days will be great and some days will be in between and, you know, and it'll be a juggle, but that's life
That's
too,
life. You
right?
don't know what's coming. I think one of my favorite things I heard recently was, I'm trying to make sure I get it right, but it's don't try to make the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
Try to make the decision right.
Yep.
So whatever decision you've made, make that the right one.
Yeah.
And I think, oh my gosh, that's just, it just frees you from so much potential regret because we don't know what our little twin universe person is doing. And we don't need to know because this is the timeline we're on and it's great. So make it as beautiful as it can be. And I really like that. Yeah,
And
that spoke to me.
it's good. Funny how you were saying before about how, you know, like sometimes decisions and choices in life and change can be really freeing. I typically don't find that experience with a lot of things. I'm very typical type A, like to be very in control, which is probably actually contributes to a whole lot of my issues. But anyway, but my husband and I recently made a very freeing decision. He remembered that he still had access to staff travel from when he was Qantas staff. And so we've booked a flight to Singapore on a date. But when you travel staff travel, you're on standby, right? So, and we were at the bottom of the priority list of staff travel because he's a retiree staff, right? So down the bottom. We may not get on that plane. And I said to him, so what's our backup plan? I just need to know, do we have a backup plan? And he's like, yeah, we'll just pull the computer out at the airport. If we don't get on that plane, we'll pull the computer out, we'll find a different flight and we'll go somewhere. I was like, okay, that's so cool. Normally not cool for me, but I've actually really lent into it and I'm super excited. And someone said to me, part of it is because I can't actually take on any of the mental load around the planning of the holiday, right?
What a
There is
gift.
no planning can be done until we know we're on the plane. We're not even booking accommodation.
This is so exciting.
So I don't know where we're going. I don't know where we're staying. I mean, we're planning Singapore at this moment, but maybe we won't get there. We might go somewhere else.
I'm going to Singapore in a week. Are you?
We're going in at the beginning of August. So yeah. So, but we'll see. Like it'll be somewhere warm because we'll be packed for Singapore. So we'll just go somewhere warm. If we don't get on that plane and we don't know where we're going to stay, we'll just book that when we get there. And I'm actually super excited about it. And because I've, been going through a little bit of stuff myself and this has actually I've been being able to let that go and let go of the stress of all of those decisions. None of them are in my control. I'm like, I'm actually okay with that. It's
just let it be joyful.
Best feeling. It's actually really lovely to be able to let all of that go and just go, oh, well, what happens will happen.
Precious. I love that.
Yeah. So, maybe it's a new me.
Yeah, a bit of joy.
We'll see. So
Cool.
I guess that kind of brings us to our very last question, because, we've talked about all the changes, and there's been lots of change for you, Hannah, in the last kind of 9 or 10 years. And you're probably a tad, like, you're younger than Laura and I.
Yeah, definitely.
Significantly younger.
Catching
But
up.
yeah, but you're still younger than us. And our podcast is called The Change, in part as a bit of a play on words, that midlife experience that all women will eventually get to, perimenopause and menopause. So what do you think, like, your experience or your feelings of or towards the change are?
Yeah. Interestingly, perimenopause has kind of become, especially with my work with Women's Weekly, I do a lot of
Mm,
their health features, and just because of the age range of their audience, it's very much the perimenopause era and even
mm,
onwards and postmenopause. So peri has really become my beat lately, and I love it.
mhm,
I've written quite a few things even for Mamma Mia about peri, which yeah, I just love it, and it's taught me so much. Now, having interviewed so many women specifically about their peri experience as well, it's made me feel lucky to be going through it when I will be,
mhm,
because my mum, went through it in that era where HRT was absolutely no doctor would prescribe that. That would just give you
mhm,
cancer. So we're not giving you that, which is I could have seen that just being a miracle for my mum's
mhm,
experience. And I think that I have really positive feelings about it. I've seen the incredible transformations, and you know what? Even listening to this podcast has made me so positive towards it as well. Because hearing what women do with that phase of it's just a launch pad for just a whole new era of
mhm,
whatever they're going to accomplish. It's so cool. So I'm not really afraid of it anymore. I think it used to be something that I was just unknown and also, oh, what's going to happen to me? Ugh, scary. Ugh,
mm,
that's going to suck. And now I think, oh, that's just going to be a new phase and a new little challenge to navigate. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Bring it on.
mhm.
And I know I can handle it because I've done
Well,
some.
you've
Yeah,
handled
that's right.
everything before up to now,
Mm,
so, and I think you're exactly right. Like, our podcast has certainly shown that the range of experiences, like, there's 3 of us here.
mm.
Every single one of us is going to have a very different experience.
Yeah.
I was clearly perimenopausal, but I didn't know that I was perimenopausal because, to be totally honest and frank, that is a word that has really only become part of the vernacular
Mhm.
in the last, look,
Yeah, I
maximum
reckon
5 years,
5. Yeah,
maximum, look,
yeah,
3 to 5
Mhm.
years.
agree. Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, 3 to 5 years, common vernacular. But I had hysterectomy in 2017. So, and I had my ovaries. So for me, but I look back and I go, oh, actually, I was probably perimenopausal when I had my twins. So I
Mm.
was 34, 35,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
definitely things were changing. There was a whole lot of change that was going on.
Yep.
And I look back and I go, oh, hang on.
Mm.
That was probably what was going on then. But we
Hindsight.
didn't know about it. And there was no way of kind of reference point or anything like
Mm.
that. But now, women who are 34, 35,
Mm.
noticing changes, or perhaps it's their mental health,
Yep.
perhaps it's their physical strength,
Yep.
perhaps it's like there's a
Sleep.
whole
Sleep's a big
raft,
one.
sleep,
Mhm.
Mm.
um, aching joints,
Yeah.
all sorts of different things that there's something like, I don't know, 45,
Oh,
50
it just
actual
keeps growing.
symptoms
Yeah, the expert
that,
I recently interviewed said, "Oh, we've stopped putting a number on because it just keeps we just
yeah.
keep having new symptoms."
So many.
And
Yeah.
I noticed things like, cholesterol
Yes.
increases that
Yeah.
had never, there was
Mm.
no change to diet whatsoever.
Mm.
Cholesterol increase.
Mm.
Go on HRT, cholesterol goes back to
Very
normal.
Mm.
Blood
interesting.
pressure, same,
Mm.
always had been low. Then all of a sudden it became high.
Mm.
HRT brings it back into a normal range. So
Yeah.
they're
Mm.
my experiences. They're not everybody's experiences. And I think
Mhm.
that's the hardest thing of all. And yeah, there's kind of no research because, we
Oh,
It's
we didn't
coming.
research women. No.
no.
Yeah, that's it. But I think at least that
Yeah.
conversation has started that,
Yeah,
as you
it's
Yeah.
say,
pushing
it's the
forward.
last 3 to 5 years, and for
Mm.
millennials and Gen Z women, it's gonna be a whole different experience. It's gonna be very informed, and
I
you'll be
think we're
going to
so
the doctor.
lucky. I
Mm,
feel so lucky to be
mm,
to be in the beneficiary of that.
Yep.
I think that speaking to so many women who have created such beautiful art and done such incredible things, pivoted or done different things, during peri or post menopause, it's also given me the confidence to start making those choices even now and saying yes to things I might have been too scared to say yes to. And like right now, I'm going to Singapore next week. I recently decided I'm a travel writer, and I've designed a famil for myself in Singapore. It's
Awesome.
so exciting.
Yep.
I thought, no, I can do this. I got some great commissions. I'm going to be writing some fantastic travel stories because, of course, I never used to be like that. It was like that would have been like, no, you can't. No. And it's honestly been speaking to just such incredibly empowered women that I thought maybe I'm going to start now. I'm not going to wait till
Yeah.
Yeah, what a great idea. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do it now. Like
Confidence
and that confidence and I wish I had that confidence. But
Oh, it's coming. It's still there for you, I think. It's not there for me every day, mind you, at all. But have you just need little bursts of it.
Yeah,
That's
little
all.
bursts. That's right. And
Little,
that's
little bush.
yeah. That's awesome. Well, have a lovely time in Singapore. I love that we have that in common. I was in Singapore a month ago, and
right before everything.
and
I
I'm going to
know.
be there. Well, fingers crossed I'm
Fingers
going.
crossed.
I know, look at us.
I know.
Just crossing over in life. So
exciting.
strange.
Yes.
Oh, well, Hannah, thank you so much for talking to us today and telling us all about the many changes that you've had and what a trajectory you're likely on. Just going to keep, you'll be handling those changes, whatever happens, with ease.
And we will certainly be following on your journey. And
And I love seeing you on TV as well. Is it the Chemist Warehouse commercial?
Yes, there was a Chemist Warehouse one that was on, and then a pilot ad that was really cheeky. It was so all the time.
Yes, I've seen that part of cheeky ad.
Yeah, I always say
I watch the football, so that's mostly where it's like.
And there's an
targeted
AFL
to men.
one on at the moment that I think is on around the football timing as well. So it's lots of football crowds
related. Yeah, I always say that's when my kids see it. I'm like, oh, that's Hannah. I know her.
Yes, they're like,
Celebrity.
That's my friend.
Yeah.
Yes, and also, the other one is Holly Wainwright's beautiful new book. I've got to shout it out because if you want to read it or the audiobook, I had the honor of narrating the audiobook. And it was so good. So you can
excellent.
Check it out.
Yeah.
I will definitely add it to my to be read pile.
Yeah. And then in a little while there will be a beautiful new book by Elena Dokic with me as well, working with her on that one, which is a new project we've just embarked on.
Fantastic.
Really
that's exciting.
She's amazing. We love her.
Absolutely love Yelena.
Has always been my idol.
Yeah.
Very strange to work with your idol. But she's not like that. She's just this incredible human, and she's just in such an amazing place, and she's just done such amazing things, and she just continues to do
she really
the most phenomenal things with her life, her voice, her platform. So exciting.
Oh, look out for that. We can't wait.
Definitely.
Keep us posted. We'll follow along. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. She's so accomplished, so incredible.
She really is.
Hannah.
Yeah.
And
and we feel like we know her, don't we? Because she's so familiar, such a familiar face, obviously on our TV screens, but also from having worked with her and Mamma Mia and just seeing her work. And she's such an impressive writer. If you haven't read any of Hannah's pieces, very much recommend you get onto her website or just Google her name. Her byline is across some major publications: Marie Claire, Sydney Morning Herald,
Women's Weekly,
Body and Soul, ABC Every Day, and she writes so beautifully and relatably about her condition. And I had no idea about Addison's disease and her experience of it. Really, how many changes she's had in what she's only 35, so
something
that's right. She is young and been through so much already.
And as you say, she shares so generously about her experience, and I think when people do share generously and vulnerably, you can really tell that it's coming from their heart, and they really want to inform but also make a difference in the community. And I'm super excited to see what comes for Hannah. She mentioned a couple of big projects that
some exciting
she,
ones.
really exciting ones. An audiobook for one of our former bosses at Mamma Mia.
Holly Wainwright's book, yes.
Yes. So she mentioned the audiobook for Holly, and I love watching women thrive and, do incredible things. And as she said, she's really just carved this out for herself, which is wonderful, to
It
see her
is.
do that.
And I think also she's in such a unique position as someone with a profile and to be an advocate, for that chronic illness community. And she says, she's been embraced by the community, which I think is really important. And also just to make people understand that just because Hannah looks beautiful and she is beautiful, obviously, and accomplished and all the things, but she's still suffering in this way. And I think it's such an important conversation that we have, and we recognize that not everything is as perfect as it seems on first impressions, and that she's really bringing her voice to that. And I think it's a really important chat to have.
Absolutely. And as you said, just because everything looks perfect, she's taking medication daily, 4 times a day, just to stay alive. She's not taking that for funsies, this
No.
to keep her alive. So, that's really important. And I know that she's mentioned that there's been supply issues with medication and things like that. And I know a lot of people are facing that with various different types of medication. And to have the voice of someone advocating is so important. So, great chat.
Work, Hannah. Great chat.
Thanks for listening to The Change, a fully independent podcast. Whether you're seeking inspiration, curious about change, or just here for the great banter, we'd love you to make The Change your new go-to podcast.
And even better, send us your voice notes or questions about change. We'll use them on the show. Email us at changepod2023@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at _change_pod. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram for more on The Change.